And, many years ago, I read and I heard a true story that really impressed me. And so today I'm going to share that story with you. So it goes like this. The woman, the woman who decided to become God's private secretary had once had a similar job, position in an office. And in her former position in the office as secretary, she kept a little book on her desk that she used every day. Every time a telephone call would come in, every time someone would come into the office and want to see the boss, she recorded this in this little book. And as I was thinking about this story, I was also thinking about our secretary here, Sonia. As most of you know, she is such a delight. She is just absolutely wonderful. We're so fortunate to have her. And she will, if I'm not here, she makes notes. And when I come in the door, she says to me, be okay if I give you 5 minutes to get settled in my office? And then I'll be in. So she has her notepad, and she'll come in and tell me what's going on or who's called or what needs to be done or whatever, this and this and this. So anyway, this lady kept at her desk that was, she called it a go-between from her desk to that of her employer. And in this book, in this little book that she had, she placed, of course, notes, appointments, etc., etc., etc. The book became a very, very a source of absolute, all good information. Okay, all information that she didn't need to take care of. It belonged. Her boss could take care of it. So, her employer once remarked that when he went to business meetings or et cetera, or conference, and I say the same thing for our secretary, or whatever, even if I come in after Sonia leaves, there's on my desk notes, okay? Anything pressing, anything that I need to take care of immediately, she has my cell phone number, my landline, whatever, okay? So this little book that this secretary that I'm talking about became her little prayer book. She called it her prayer book, and her employer called it the prayer book, okay? Because it was always brought up to date, always pertinent, whatever. So it not only looked like a little pocket prayer book, but also merited its name from the mental relief from worry and anxiety and over appointments and so on and so forth. All the details was there in the book. So our friend said, this lady said, that when as a private secretary, she had done all in her power, in handling some matter, and all that was needed was her boss's final okay on whatever needed to be done. If she could take care of it, she would. If not, it wasn't her concern. Her boss would take care of it. So she wrote down in her little prayer book, okay, whatever she needed to write in the little prayer book. A few years later, when she was no longer employed by this company, she got married. She became a student of Unity, and she was of the type that would readily become enthused about Unity philosophy, Unity teaching, Unity affirmations, etc., etc. She called it, which is true, practical Christianity. Okay, we practice the truth, practical Christianity. So after making several attempts, at using metaphysical treatments for not only herself, but for family and friends, etc., she was, sometimes successful, and sometimes she felt that she wasn't very successful to answered prayer. So anyway, she decided that she needed to go back to what she referred to as that little prayer book. Okay, that it worked so wonderfully well when she was employed with this company. So why not use the prayer book now? And so the very idea caused a deep feeling of, yeah. Have you ever had that feeling about something? Yes, it's right. Yes, this is the time. Yes, this is what I need to do. This is what she felt, okay? So so she would write down. She bought a little prayer book. Or she didn't buy a prayer book. She bought a little book, and maybe like this. I don't know. And she called it a prayer book. And she decided at that moment that she needed to get busy with this. That she was not going to put it off. She was going to use it when a problem appeared in her life. She devoted a page to the subject in her little book. Okay, writing in a metaphysical fashion. Okay, and not when I say metaphysical fashion, I'm saying simply write down what it is. She wrote down just simply what the problem is. She didn't need to go into great long dissertation, how terrible, how long, how whatever. No. Very simply, very, very simply write it out. And then an affirmation, okay, or maybe a Bible verse, whatever. Maybe both. It was hers. It was not to be shared with anyone, okay? That was her little book, okay? So then, excuse me, in the former years when she had the little book that she shared with her employer, she had made notes for his attention, okay? She did the same thing with the little prayer book. She made maybe an asterisk. And that's exactly what I do, okay? If there's something, okay, even if anyone has ever read or looked in any of my books that I have, in my truth books, my metaphysical books, you will see asterisks along the page. That means, Donna, pay attention. Donna, this is important. So if I go back through that book, whatever it might be, I don't care if it's Lessons in Truth or whatever, I can just simply flip through that and garner out of that an immediate truth. I don't have to read pages and pages, okay, because there's an asterisk there. Now, I know that some people don't write in your books. Now, Judy, I didn't say Judy Petrowski.
I learned from you in 25 years.
Let's just take a sidestep a minute. One time I'm teaching a class downstairs. Now, this pertains to Judy. I'm teaching a class, and when I teach a class out of a book, I write in it, okay? I write all over it. I put underline and, whatever. Judy, I think you were sitting next to me, right?
I could have been. Aghast.
She was. Oh, you're writing in the book. And I said, of course I am. It's my book. I can write in it. Oh, no. Oh, she just...
Such a new thought.
Now you should see her books. But anyway, finally, I couldn't figure out why she was having such a deal out of writing in a book. I mean, I'm teaching out of the book, for God's sakes. I'm not going to sell it or anything. So anyway, she told me that she was taught that you don't write in a book, right? Yeah, I see heads going, huh? Well, I was never taught that. So, but anyway, so I don't know, a few years back, I'm sitting near Judy in a class, and I happen to look over. Oh my Lord, did she learn a lesson? But anyway, excuse me. So in this lady's former employment, former office, whatever, she called it. Let me back up. Now I lost my place. Okay. I said this lady made maybe, like I do, an asterisk. She wrote down an affirmation if she chose to, or a Bible verse or whatever. And what's the challenge? What's the challenge? What is she praying about? Okay, maybe harmony in the home, maybe employment, maybe prosperity, maybe who knows, health, healing, whatever. Okay. And so when she was ready to lay it on God's desk, and get this, when she was ready to lay it on God's desk, she turned the whole matter over to the higher power. See? Very simply, she did not have to think about it, worry about it, fuss over it any longer. It didn't belong to her. It did not belong to her. It never belonged to her. Challenges never belong to us. We take them on. And then we think that we have to struggle to find the answer, the right outworking, the right whatever. And we struggle through that. When there is that presence and power within, that if we would turn it over and turn the challenge, whatever it might be, and keep our mental hands off of it. You see, so often, we say, God, I'm trusting you, on whatever it might be. I'm trusting you. And then, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, or 2 hours, or whatever, we take the whole thing back and start mentally trying to take it apart and put it back together in a different way. And if you're like me, it never works because I don't get it together right. Okay? When God does something, it's never done halfway. Okay? It's never done in a goofy way. It's done in an orderly, loving way. So this whole business, when we put it on God's desk, so to speak, we keep our mental hands off of it. And if we need to remind ourselves, if we look in the little book, our little prayer book, that God's taking care of this. And all I need to do is keep the high watch. Don't go back mentally trying to figure it out, work it out, think it out, whatever. Just simply, Father, I'm trusting you. Father, I give thanks. Okay? I know that my good comes to me from all directions, whatever it might be. But keep on the track, the positive, the good, the right way for the situation or whatever it might be to unfold, to come about. So she was able to keep in mind that she was just God's private secretary. And I thought, when I was thinking about this, I thought, isn't that wonderful? Doesn't that take a load off your shoulders? I mean, when you really think about it, think into it. You're God's private secretary. You don't have to work out what is God's to work out. We don't have to do that. We think we might, but we don't. It wasn't long before she began to observe that once things were given over to God and not try to work it out or think it out or whatever, but once it was turned over to God, answers came in a wonderful way. It began to unfold. It began to a new direction, a new inspiration, a new whatever. And so we are, in other words, she took her mental hands off of it. Okay. And so we're reminded of a passage from Isaiah. And I didn't memorize it, so I'll read it to you. Ye that make mention of the Lord, keep not silence, and give him no rest till he establish. In other words, put it there in your little prayer book and leave it there. And remind yourself however many times you need to. God, it's yours. I don't know how to do this. Have you ever said to that Spirit of God within you, Father, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to work this out. But I know that you do. And I am open and receptive to your guidance, your inspiration. Try it. Father, just be gut level honest. Father, I don't know what to do here, but I know that you do. I know that you do. So, do you see what accomplishment can be made by using the little prayer book? You are given your freedom from holding on to, for dear life, the problem. And so often that's what we do. We hold on to a challenge like we're not in our right mind, which I don't think we are. Excuse me. No, I don't think we are. When we really know, sometimes we don't know. Well, if you don't know, then it's time that you start knowing that there is a greater power at work. Okay? And we choose to call that power God. You can call it anything you want to. It doesn't matter. God doesn't really care what you call him. Him, her, it. It doesn't matter. But there's a higher power at work that we do know. Okay? That we do know. So as a beginner in truth, she needed to formulate her thoughts first. She needed to formulate her thoughts definitely upon that for which she was treating or praying, okay, or praying about. Get a clear thought on it. Get a clear thought, okay? Above all, she needed to really, really gut level, all the way, reach the place in consciousness where she was able and she was willing, totally willing to give things over to God. Now, I know that's a tall order. I know it is. But I also know that the faster we do it, the easier it becomes, and the faster the answer comes. I know that. And I know that you know it also. So she succeeded. She succeeded, and so will you. In doing this, when she came to see that really and truly, being God's private secretary freed her. She was no longer in a prison of fear and doubt and worry and concern and all the other stuff. Does anyone not know what I'm talking about? Good. Good. I'm sure we have all at some time or other been there. I'm sure of that. So she found the little prayer book. Much more, so much easier to use every day if necessary. Every day. She also found that prayer just could not fail if she was true blue to putting it in the little prayer book and keeping mental hands off of it. You know, I don't know why we think we can solve life's challenges. A person. I don't know how we came to that conclusion. Because I know that there's so many people hurting because they're not successful in their own private lives to meet what is required of them. And they don't know where to go, okay? They turn to drugs, they turn to alcoholism, they turn to whatever, okay? And then it's compounded, okay? It's compounded. The problem is compounded because you may have started out with one problem, now you got 2 or 3 or 4 more. So, it's so much easier, so much more productive to use a little prayer book and release the anxiety and worry and so on. Anyway, if prayer had been, let me get back to this gal. If prayer had been a hit and miss proposition with you, as it had been with this gal, try her plan. Try her plan. I did. We have these little books out there. That's why I asked. Did anyone not receive a little book? This is your little prayer book if you choose to use it, okay? It's none of my business what you do, okay? It's none of my business at all. I'm making a suggestion. I know that this works. I don't happen to be the woman that I told you about. I could have been, but I wasn't. I'm not. But I know it works. So, I ask that you not write in it because I wanted to give you some of these points, okay, about when you do write in your little prayer book. I wanted to give you what it's for, how you use it, so on. And this is between you and God. As I said before, has nothing, let me back up. Sometimes I believe we make the mistake of sharing some of our challenges, problems, whatever you want to call them, with everybody and their twin brother and then some. Because we want to know what they think. What do you think about this? How would you do it? How would you, okay? And I've said before, many times before, if you are in a prayer project, now you have your little book. But if you're in a prayer project, something in your life needs to be healed. I don't care what it is. And you want to talk with someone about it. You want somebody to stand with you in this. Just to remind you, if necessary. You don't have to talk to everyone and their twin brother and say, this is where I'm at. Would you pray with me? Would you keep me in mind? Whatever. Find one person. And when you ask that person, I've said this before, but it's extremely important. When you ask that person, will you be praying with me? Will you hold me in prayer for whatever it might be? And they say yes. If you're the person that says yes, do it. Do not make a commitment to hold someone in prayer unless you are willing to do it on a regular basis. Have whatever it takes to say, forgive me, I can't now. Or whatever you need to do. But if you say yes, you have made a commitment. And do it. And if they don't need to share with you their little prayer book. That's between them and God. But they can hold you in a consciousness of answered prayer. So keep in mind that these are sometimes called little secrets between you and God. Do not make a public display of it. And someday we'll talk about that. But anyway, about making a public display. Do your part and holding a good thought. And release the rest to God. Do your part and let God do the rest. Our part is so little, okay, when we really think about it. There's great compensation for you. For each one that is God's private secretary. Great compensation. So let's take a moment. Try it. You might like it. But anyway, let's just take a moment. And if you want to, right now, right here, this time, this place, to write something in your prayer book, in a consciousness that's generated here now, feel free to do it. Because the consciousness that is generated in a Sunday service is one of peace, total peace, love, and really surrender to a higher power. So let's take a moment. And in this time, we say, Father, you are the only power. You are the only power. Even though there's times that there appears to be another power at work. Nothing, no one can stand against the loving, sustaining, maintaining power of God. Nothing or no one. So we rest for a blessed moment in this realization. You say, Father, in your hands and keeping, I place all my affairs. All my affairs. And if you want to take a moment and think about what are your affairs that you may be concerned over, I'm placing it in God's care. Every little situation, everything, my cares, my concerns, I place my loved ones, fully knowing that they cannot fail, they cannot fall, that they are surrounded with this love and peace of God, right here, right now, wherever they may be. I relinquish worry thoughts and then from my shoulders, from my shoulders. Loads are lifted as I accept the truth as taught by Jesus Christ. We're taught to cast all of our burdens on the Lord and no longer be afraid. Be filled with God's love and peace. And so we depend, Father, on you. We depend on you. And as our faith in you increases, we take back our loved ones. We take back. Because steadied in their thought and vision, you have worked with them and for them. Do whatever needs to be done. You have worked with me and for me. To clarify, to heal, to renew. Father, we are so grateful. We're so grateful for your presence, for your love, for your peace. And so it is.